different space now, but that's not relevant. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm in a different setup today. I've recently moved house. I'm still getting unpacked and set up, so this probably won't be the final thing, but you'll probably see in the next few videos that hopefully my little office space comes together. Meanwhile, let's get into today's video. Today I want to talk about the Census Address Search feature that's on Findmypast. Before I get started, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell because it really helps out my channel when you do, and let's get into it. So this feature is a fairly new one, or it's new-ish. I haven't yet had a chance to talk about it, but I have played around with it a little bit and it is great. So first I'll just give you a little demo so you can actually just see what I mean, what it does, and then I'll talk a little bit about what you might want to do with it. So let's... Okay, here we are back on Findmypast's homepage. So you just got to search and you can see down here, new census addresses. And then you can select if you want a particular census. These are all British census. And put in a street name. So for example, I know one of my ancestors lived in Stewart Street in Luton. And you can see there's 10 results there. I'm just going to leave it as all censuses. And you can see the different years. And it tells you how many households. So for example, if I chose this one, 1861 with 80 households, then I can look for the house or the schedule numbers, and that will tell me who was living in these houses at these times. So, I mean, I can't remember my ancestor's exact address, but let's just look at who was living at number 1. So we can see JS Newland, HP Newland, so the Newland family, female, male and female, a widow and a son and a daughter, mother. So that tells us who was in this house, what their ages were, their occupation, their relationships to the head of the household, and where they were born. So now that you know what I'm talking about, you can see that it actually has probably many possible uses, but there was a few that kind of came to mind for me that that I thought I'd mention today. So initially, like as a genealogist, the first thing that I would think of is that it allows you to hopefully find people that you've not been able to find in every census. So for example, one of my ancestors, if I have them in the 1841 census, but I can't find them in the 1851 census, I could try searching for the address that was in the 1841 census and just see if they happen to be still in the same house. You may also just find other relatives that are still in that house, or, you know, even neighbors and things like that. But regardless, I thought if you know where they were living in one census, I mean, it could be the following one too, it could be the 1861 census, maybe you know. If you know what their address was in one census, you could always just check that address in the missing one and see if you can find them, because sometimes it just might be that their names were kind of transcribed wrong, or for some reason or another it's not coming up under the name search, so the address search might be useful for that. Another use for it could be if you're researching the history of a house. So you could look up that same address in all of the censuses and see who was living there at that time, what kind of jobs they had, things like that. It'd be really interesting just to be able to document the history of a property. On a side note, this could also be interesting if your house is haunted and you want to find out whose ghost you're dealing with. So you could just type in your address, you could look up the different people who live there, and then you've got a handful of names that you could, you know, these are the suspects of who could be haunting your house. I'm like not even kidding, I would totally do that because, yeah, I totally think lots of houses are haunted. But that's another story. But it would be useful, right, if you're researching the history of a house, if it's haunted as well, or if you're just a historian too, that's, yeah. So also just be aware that this is only for British census records. It's not for other countries or anything like that. So if you have ancestors in England, or if you live in England and want to research the history of your house or whatever, super interesting. Give it a go. It's a lot of fun. If you don't already have a Findmypast subscription, you can use my code to get 20% off a pro subscription. So I'll put all the details in the description box below if you're interested in getting that. Alright, that is about it for this video. Please let me know in the comments below if you've played around with this feature and if you've enjoyed it, or if you've had any interesting research sort of breakthroughs with it. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!